In this session, we are going to discuss about human heart, second component of blood vascular system in man, that is human heart. First of all, we are going to discuss about location, size of the heart, and about the shape of the human heart. So the heart in the body of human beings, it is located in media sternum. Now, in the thoracic cavity, in the ventral part of the thoracic cavity in man, between two lungs, there is a presence of a small space, and that space is called as mediastinum. And in this space, mediastinum, the human heart, it is located, and the heart fits into cardiac notch. Now, cardiac notch is a depression. It is like this. It is a depression to the left lung, which is called as cardiac notch. And in this cardiac notch and in the mediastinum, the human heart, it fixed. Now, the size of the human heart. Now, when we are going to discuss, when we talk about the size of the human heart, then generally it is said that when we make a tight fist of our non-working hand, when we make a tight fist of our non-working hand, then this is the size of your heart. A tight fist of non-working hand, this is the size of the human heart. Now, the shape of the human heart. The human heart, it is triangular in shape. So the shape of the human heart, it is triangular. Now, when we are saying that the human heart is triangular in shape, then the upper, broader part of the human heart, it is base of the human heart, and towards lower part, it is narrow. The lower part is narrower, which is the apex of the human heart. So when we are going to say that shape of the heart is triangular, then the upper, broader part of the human heart is the base of the heart, and the lower narrow part, it is the apex of the human heart. Now the weight of the human heart. For the weight, it varies in males and in females. So weight of the heart in males and in females. So in females, the heart is slightly lighter in weight, and the weight of the heart in human females, it is in between 230 to 280 grams. So the weight of the human heart in human females, it is 230 to 280 grams, and in males, it is 280 to 340 grams. So in male, the heart is slightly heavier in weight. Now, as we are saying, the heart, it is triangular in shape. So it is like this. I am going to draw a very So this is, suppose, the human heart. Now when it looks from outside, so this shape, it looks from outside, and when we are going to draw the internal structure, we are going to draw a completely different shape of the human heart. Now as we are saying, the heart, it is triangular in shape. So the upper part, broader part of the human heart, it is called as the base of the heart. So this is the base, and this is the lower narrow part, it is the apex of the heart. And generally, the lower part, apex of the heart, it is turned towards the left side. It is bent towards the left side. And when we are going to look the heart from outside, then from outside of the heart, we are going to observe grooves. We are going to observe sulcus on the human heart. Now, there are two grooves present on the human heart. The first groove, it is like this. Now, this groove, it separates upper part of the heart from the lower part. And this groove, this sulcus. Now, sulcus is a term generally used for the groove. It is like this. Suppose this is the upper part of the heart and this is the lower part of the heart, and between this there are grooves, and these grooves it is called as sulcus. So the first groove which separates upper part of the heart from the lower part, it is called as cardiac or coronary. It is called as coronary sulcus. So the first groove which separates upper part of the heart from the lower part, it is called as coronary sulcus. Now the second groove, it is like this. So second groove, it separates or it is present in between two ventricles. So it is called as interventricular sulcus. Interventricular sulcus, which separates two ventricles from one another. So when we look the heart from outside, then it looks like this. There are two grooves, there are two sulcus. First, which separates upper part from the lower part, called as coronary sulcus, and the second, which separates two ventricles from one another, it is called as interventricular sulcus. And generally, this interventricular sulcus is towards one side. It is towards one side and it separates two ventricles from one another. So this is the heart from outside. Now this sulcus, coronary sulcus, as it is present between auricles and ventricles, so it is also called as auriculoventricular sulcus. Auriculoventricular sulcus means which separates auricles from ventricles. So this is the heart from outside. Now this is the lower narrow part of the heart, which is bent towards the left side, which is turned towards the left side. And we are saying human beings are bilaterally symmetrical animals. Bilaterally symmetrical animals means when we cut the body into two parts through a vertical plane, then there are two equal halves, two equal parts. But when we cut the human body into two equal parts through a one vertical plane, then it may not be possible for two equal parts of the heart, because the heart is bent towards the left side. So this is the heart from outside. It looks like this, and there are two sulcus, two grooves. And now we are going to discuss about the wall of the human heart. So now the wall of the human heart. Now the wall of the human heart, it consists of three layers. There is a presence of three layers in the wall of the heart. These three layers are the outer one, the middle one, and the inner one. So there is a presence of three layers in the walls of the heart. So the outer part, outer layer of the heart, it is called as epicardium. This is the outermost layer. The middle layer in the heart, it is called as myocardium. And the inner layer, it is called as endocardium. So these are the three layers in the wall of the heart: epicardium, myocardium, and endocardium. Now we are going from inside to outside. So first we will draw the innermost layer. It is like this. So this is the innermost layer in the wall of the heart, which is called as endocardium. So this is endocardium. And this layer is made up of simple squamous epithelium. Now next to this layer, there is a presence of myocardium. Now this is myocardium. Now this layer, myocardium, it is made up of cardiac muscles. And cardiac muscles are highly specialized muscles for bringing rhythmic contraction and relaxation of the heart. The rhythmic contraction and relaxation of the heart, it is brought with the help of this layer, which is called as myocardium. Now this is myocardium, which is formed by means of cardiac muscles. Now the third layer, epicardium. Now this layer, epicardium, again it consists of two parts. Epicardium, it consists of two parts, serous epicardium and fibrous epicardium. So these are the two layers of epicardium, two parts of epicardium, serous epicardium and fibrous epicardium. And both these two parts, they are made of serous epicardium. It is made up of simple squamous epithelium. Now, first of all, we are going to discuss about serous epicardium. Now, this serous epicardium, again, it consists of two layers. Serous epicardium, it consists of two layers. The first layer, inner layer, it is called as visceral epicardium. And next to this visceral epicardium, there is parietal epicardium. So both these two, visceral epicardium and parietal epicardium, it forms serous epicardium, first part of the epicardium, that is serous epicardium, consisting of visceral epicardium and parietal epicardium. And next to this, there is a presence of fibrous epicardium. As this is fibrous epicardium, it is formed by means of fibrous tissues. It is a protective capsule present around the heart called as fibrous epicardium, made up of fibrous tissues. Now, in between this visceral epicardium and parietal epicardium, there is a presence of fluid. This is a fluid present between these two layers. And this fluid is called as pericardial fluid. So, fluid present between visceral and parietal epicardium, it is called as pericardial fluid. And this pericardial fluid performs different functions. Pericardial fluid is responsible for providing lubrication to the movement of the heart. When the heart is moving, so this movement, it is frictionless. And this frictionless movement, it is possible with the help of pericardial fluid. Now, this pericardial fluid also protects the heart from the mechanical shocks. The mechanical shocks, the heart, it is protected by pericardial fluid. So in all, there are three layers in the wall of the heart. The outer epicardium formed by simple squamous, the outer epicardium, the middle myocardium, the inner endocardium. And now we are going from inside of the heart to the outside. The innermost is endocardium, formed by means of simple squamous epithelium. The middle layer, it is myocardium, formed by means of cardiac muscles, specialized muscles for rhythmic contraction of the human heart. The outermost layer, epicardium, consists of two parts, serous and fibrous epicardium. Serous epicardium again consists of visceral epicardium and parietal epicardium. Now, when generally we talk about epicardium, then we are talking about these two parts, visceral epicardium and parietal epicardium. In between these two, there is a presence of pericardial fluid, and generally the volume of the pericardial fluid, it is 15 ml, which provides lubrication to the heart. And the outermost, there is fibrous layer, which is a protective capsule present around the heart. So this is all about the heart. And now we are going to discuss about the internal structure of the heart. Now, we are going to discuss about the internal structure of human heart. Now, internally, the human heart, it is a hollow organ, and internally, human heart consists of 4 chambers. So, there are 4 chambers in the human heart, 2 anterior chambers and 2 posterior chambers. Now, the anterior chambers of the human heart, it is called as auricles. So, auricles are the anterior chambers of the human heart, and posterior chambers of the human heart are called as ventricles. So, in the human heart, there is a presence of 2 anterior chambers, auricles, and 2 posterior chambers called as ventricles. Now, one by one, we are going to discuss about these 2 chambers. So, first of all, about auricles. Now, auricles are anterior and receiving chambers of the human heart. So, auricles are receiving chambers. Both these auricles, they receive blood from different part of the body. Now, this is the right side of the heart and this is the left side of the heart. Now, the auricle which is present towards the right side, it is called as right auricle. So, this is right auricle. And the auricle which is present towards left side, it is called as left auricle. So, this is right auricle and left auricle. Both these auricles, they are separated from one another by means of a septum. And this septum is called as interauricular septum. So, interauricular septum separates right auricle from the left auricle. Now, in this septum, in the interauricular septum, there is a presence of a depression. Now, this depression is called as fossa ovalis. So, in the interauricular septum, there is a presence of a depression which is called as fossa ovalis. Now, you have heard in some cases it is said that a child is having a hole in the heart. What happens? This fossa ovalis, during the embryonic stage, there is a presence of an opening. Now, this opening is called as fossa. Now, the opening which is present between 2 auricles, this is called as fossa or oher. And at the time of the birth, this opening, it is going to close and there remains a depression. There remains a scar which is called as fossa ovalis. And when this depression or this opening, it fails to close at that time, we are going to say that a child is having a hole in the heart. So, this is a depression in interauricular septum called as fossa ovalis. Now, this right auricle receives deoxygenated blood from anterior and posterior part of the body with the help of 2 vena cavas. So, it receives deoxygenated blood from anterior part of the body as well as from the posterior part of the body with the help of 2 vena cavas. The vena cava which brings the blood from anterior part, that is from the upper region of the heart, that is called as superior vena cava. Superior vena cava. And the second vena cava which brings the blood from the posterior part of the body, it is called as inferior vena cava. Now, the superior vena cava, it brings deoxygenated blood from anterior part. Inferior vena cava carries deoxygenated blood from the posterior part of the body. Now, there is one more opening. This is called as coronary sinus. Now, this opening, coronary sinus, it brings the blood from the wall of the heart. The deoxygenated blood from the wall of the heart. Now, so in the right auricle now there is deoxygenated blood. Now the openings of these vena cavas, inferior vena cava and coronary sinus, they are guarded by means of valves, and the valves are called as eustachian valves. Eustachian valves guards the opening of inferior vena cava and coronary sinus. But the opening of superior vena cava is without any valve. There is no valve present at superior vena cava. Now, why? Because the blood in the inferior vena cava, it is flowing against the gravity, and the blood which comes from the superior vena cava into the right auricle. Now the superior vena cava enters the right auricle with the help of angle. It enters like this. The superior vena cava, it enters with the help of angle into the right auricle. And when the right auricle, it contracts, automatically the opening of the superior vena cava is going to close. So there is no need of any valve. Now the left auricle. Left auricle receives oxygenated blood from pulmonary veins with the help of pulmonary veins. The right auricle, left auricle, it receives oxygenated blood, and there are 4 pulmonary veins coming from both the lungs. 2 from left lung and 2 from right lung. They carries oxygenated blood into left auricle. Now both of these auricles, they are going to open into ventricles. Right auricle opens into right ventricle with the help of an aperture, with the help of an opening called as right auriculoventricular opening. And this opening, right auriculoventricular opening, is guarded by means of valve, and that valves are called as, so there are valves, and that valves are called as tricuspid valves. So the opening of right auricle into right ventricle is guarded by means of a valve called as tricuspid valve. Now these are one-way valves allowing the blood only from auricles into the ventricles. Now when we look into these valves from top, the valves, they looks like this. So there are 3 cusps, 3 semicircular cusps. Cusps are thin skin-like structures. So there is a presence of 3 cusps. So these valves are called as tricuspid valves. Now the left auricle opens into left ventricle with the help of left auriculoventricular aperture, which is guarded by means of a valve. And that valve is called as bicuspid valve. Bicuspid valve. Or this valve is also called as mitral valve. The bicuspid valve also called as mitral valve. Again, when we look into these valves from the top, again there are 2 semicircular cusps. So these valves are called as bicuspid valve. So this is all about auricles, which are thin walled and are receiving chambers of the human heart. Now about ventricles. Now ventricles are thick walled and are pumping chambers of the human heart. Both the ventricles, they are separated from one another by means of a septum, which is called as interventricular septum. So this is interventricular septum, which separates right ventricle from the left ventricle. Now both these are the pumping chambers. Therefore, ventricles are thicker chambers than the auricles. Now, the inner wall of ventricles is raised into numerous projections. There is the presence of projections in the inner wall of the ventricles, and these projections are called as, here you can write, these projections are called as columnae corneae. So The projections present in the inner wall of the ventricles are called as columnae corneae. So same, they are present on both sides. Columnae corneae in both the ventricles. Now out of these projections, some projections they become tall. And when they become tall, at the time, that projections are called as papillary muscles. So these are papillary muscles. Now, the wall of the left ventricle is thicker compared to the wall of the right ventricle. This is because the right ventricle has to pump the blood up to lungs only, but the left ventricle has to pump the blood throughout the body. Therefore, the wall of the left ventricle is thicker compared to the wall of the right ventricle. Now, to these papillary muscles, they are attached thread-like structures called as chordae tendineae. So, thread-like structures that are attached to the papillary muscles and to the base of the walls. So, they are attached to the base of the walls and to the papillary muscles. So, it is like this. And these thread-like structures are called as chordae tendineae. So, these are chordae tendineae, thread-like structures attached to the papillary muscles and to the wall of the heart. Now, the function of this chordae tendineae. Now, this tricuspid and bicuspid walls consist of semicircular cups. And these walls, they open like this. So these are the walls, they are going to open like this. And now, when during the ventricular contraction, the ventricular contraction are powerful. The ventricular contraction, these are muscular walls. Ventricles are having muscular walls. So, the ventricular contraction are forced contraction. So, when the ventricles, they are going to contract, the walls are going to close like this. But there is a possibility that the walls may open into another direction. So, to avoid this, to avoid the backflow of the blood from ventricles to auricles, there is chordae tendineae attached to the papillary muscles and the inner and to the base of this tricuspid and bicuspid walls. Now, from the left angle of the right ventricle, from the left angle of the right ventricle, there arises pulmonary artery. So, this is pulmonary artery. From the left angle of right ventricle, there arises pulmonary artery, and when it comes outside the heart, it is divided into two branches, carrying the blood, deoxygenated blood, towards the lungs. One branch towards the left lung and another towards the right lung. So this is pulmonary artery, and this pulmonary artery, the opening of pulmonary artery is also guarded by means of valves. So these are again tricuspid valves. The type of the valve, these are tricuspid valve, but the name given to these valves as semilunar valve. So there is presence of semilunar valve. Now, from the right angle of the left ventricle, from the right angle of the left ventricle, there arises systemic arch. So this is systemic arch arises from the right angle of the left ventricle, which carries oxygenated blood out of the heart towards the various parts of the human body, and it has a left turn. So when it comes outside the heart, it takes a left turn and divided into number of different branches which carries the blood into the different parts of the human body. So we are going to sum up what we have discussed. So the human heart consists of 4 chambers. 2 anterior chambers are auricles. 2 posterior chambers are called as ventricles. Auricles are thin-walled receiving chambers. Ventricles are thick-walled pumping chambers of the human heart. Right and left auricle are separated with the help of a septum called as interauricular septum. Like that, ventricles are also separated by interventricular septum. Right auricle receives deoxygenated blood. Left auricle receives oxygenated blood. Right auricle opens into right ventricle with the help of an aperture guarded by tricuspid valve. The left auricle opens into left ventricle by an aperture guarded by bicuspid valve. And the inner wall of ventricles is raised into projections called as columnae corneae. Out of these projections, some become tall called as papillary muscles. So all this we discuss about the internal structure of the human heart. Thank you.